Hey, right here, Paradox Diaries 5.4. Gonna go back to a good one, oldie but a goodie, the first one, the gyroscope. I'll mention that in a bit, but I want to talk about the 5 in the Paradox Diaries, but I want to start my timer. Let's see. There we go. So I'm gonna stand with my feet hip width, probably as parallel as I can, knees bent. Then I'm just gonna bounce. Now, you can certainly do certain kinds of patterns. Like, for example, you can bring your energy up and then drop it. You can certainly do that. Great pattern. My goal here is literally noise. I'm just trying to bounce up and down. In fact, I really don't want a pattern. I wanted to sort of move it around a bit. And the reason for that is if I can get a gentle amount of reset going throughout my entire body, it's going to turn everything down a bit. That's just my experience. Now, what's happening right now is as I'm doing this, my heart rate's going up a little bit. Generally speaking, my heart rate variability is going to go down for a while. Totally fine. Interestingly, by doing this long enough, I'm kind of doing like a micro PNF on my vagus nerve. So I'm keeping it sort of occupied, kind of like when you're doing like a hold and release, except it's really just kind of getting sort of shaken up and loosened up. And then when I stop, there's a bit of a rebound effect, much like in PNF. And PNF is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. It's a big long term. And the basic idea, and I might do it tonight. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to stretch tonight. But what I'm finding is, okay, so this activity here is really good for turning down your nervous system. This activity by itself helps me sleep better. And also this activity by itself does improve my HRV a little bit. In fact, quite a bit. It sets me up, in fact, for big stretches though. And so by loosening my entire body and then going into a deep stretch, I'm getting much bigger effects, both in terms of body flexibility, lightness of movement as energy, but as well, what was I going to say? I'm kind of like a little tired. In any case, this is my goal here is really just random noise to again tighten the system. Kind of, it's not really tightening and it's not really agitating. It really is just loosening everything up. And one of my tests is like right now I'm turning my wrists a little bit. And if I do this, let's see if I hold my arms out. So there's a little bit of tightness up here. Eventually, I will be able to feel a nice wave up and down the entire muscle structure. And at that point, I know that probably my entire upper body is pretty good. My hips are going to be good before that, actually. So the thing about hips is they're really layered and really deep. And really, if you try to go straight at them, I mean, you can get there. You really can. It's going to take a long time, but you'll get there. However, if you do this, you're basically making space before you start. You're also turning down your nervous system. And in this practice of specifically deep flexibility, science of stretching, about half the gains, maybe even, I would say even a little bit more in the beginning is nervous system. And then in terms of flexibility, when you do that, when you physically release your body, okay, so check this out. You're actually literally reducing resting tension in muscles, which means they're using less ATP. So you're actually literally making your body more energy efficient. Plus, the practice is parasympathetic, as demonstrated by when I start to stretch after I've done shaking, my heart rate variability will just jack up at times. And then after I stop and rest, sometimes I'll get dual activation of my autonomic systems, both parasympathetic and sympathetic systems. And and I've got the HRV data, specifically RMSSD data from my Polar H10, which I'm wearing right now, to show when I have and haven't done it. And I can tell, and it's not a big deal at all. But what I'm finding is as I'm releasing years and years of tension, my body has, in the moment that the tension is released, I'm guessing it probably does give you initial bursts of energy, fine. But more importantly, forget that. Don't care about that. From then on, you're no longer spending ATP to keep that resting tension. So every time you do this, every micro stretch that you do, every time you actually make a structural change to your muscle fibers, you are very slowly over time making your body more streamlined and more efficient. And that's just basic anatomy, right? So as I've been getting older, I have more energy and more mental clarity, not less. I'm going in the unexpected direction. So I can equate it to a lot of things. Parasympathetic, intentional practices. Tai Chi is right up there, right? Now I want to be careful though. Tai Chi is a model, it's a vehicle, it's empty, it's a tool. I love Tai Chi, and I don't care if you do it or don't do it. I mean, really, I really don't. But if you find something that you love that is also parasympathetic, double down. Double down. This is my thing. I've known about it for over a decade, but it's only in the recent months that I've started doing it consistently for reasons that I've said a million times. But the point is, this right here magnified my stretching. And the creator of science of stretching, Lucas Rockowitz, says that you get about 80% of the benefit from the stretching in their first year, approximately. And I would generally agree with that. But I've been actually doing structural changes to my body very slowly over time. So I'm doing a lot more than basic range of motion at this point. I'm doing deep tissue work very, very slowly. And what I'm noticing is this here is like the primordial deep tissue work. Anything, any kind of static, any kind of cruft, any kind of stuff, it's getting cleared out. And I mean that in a literal sense, in terms of I'm stimulating my lymphatic system. So cleaning up the gunk. So this practice is like if you can do it, or some version of it, is a good basic practice. And then if you add in other things, because I don't think this is the only thing. In fact, I can tell you that last night I did this, and I had a reasonable up spike in my HRV, but it was, what was it? It was maybe 25%. So it was on the low end. So it was okay. But I mean, that's a relatively low improvement over a period of time if you do 45 minutes. So there's the time component, there's the stretching component, there's this. And then there's other things that I found out. So for example, when you do neck isometrics or any kind of isometrics, you release tension. So when I'm doing the neck isometric sequence, which I'm going to do shortly, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and do the neck isometric sequence, and then I'll get back to shaking. No reason to do all shaking at the same time. So for the neck isometrics, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push on one side. It's going to tighten the opposite side, and then I'm going to let go, and it's going to let go. PNF. So squeeze and release. But what I'm doing also is I'm stabilizing the muscles around my spine, and I'm actually increasing the blood flow and the capabilities of the nerves around the spine. So over time, this actually improves your spine. Who knew? I mean, it's kind of not. The thing is, if you just do the squeeze and release, you're going to get some value out of that. I'm doing a little bit more than that. I'm adding in Wu Qi, part of Wu Qi. Wu Qi from Tai Chi is no distinction between yin from yang. It's the beginning. So this is something like this. I'm not actually fully in it, but this is a good approximation. I'm using this base because this base has my ligaments engaged, my feet parallel. I'm going to relax my sacrum down. Now I've actually got my front engaged. So I've already got this part of my body is active right now. It may not look like it, but I can absolutely feel it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my fontanelle up. And my body just shifted forward. Got to use my toes to stop that. I went forward about 1.5 inches. Now I've got my center column all the way straight down. I'm lined up here, and I can feel extra weight in my feet. Now, I'm actively pushing my sacrum towards my heels. If I can instead relax, let's see if I can do that. I've got it a little bit. So for me, it moves the stretch from primarily the heels into the back of the arch, or if I'm really relaxed, I can get it almost feels like my feet go whoosh, just flatten out. And let's see. I can't quite do it right now. That's fine. So I'm going to relax it. I'm going to basically squeeze and relax my left side, then my right side, front, back, top. Throughout all of this, I don't want to feel anything on the spine. I want to feel things on the side of the spine, not on the spine, especially in the cervical area. But just be careful. If you feel any hot spot at all, just make micro adjustments, slow adjustments, or if you can't, get out. Do not ego through stuff on your spine. Full stop. Other stuff, you can rip a muscle, whatever. Don't F with your spine. Just don't do it. So here we go. Now, what I'm going to do is feet parallel, knees bent. I'm going to try to relax my sacrum, push my fontanelle up. I'm going to try to push my shoulders down and also relax my left side while pushing with my right. And I'm going to go ahead and I can use the clock there. And here we go. Now, I'm also trying to externally rotate my thighs, or lateral rotation. So, got that deep in the lower shoulder blade on the left, really nice. Got my transverse abdominals a little bit to the front, and I think I'm going to release. So that's about 30 seconds. So that got down to about here, and I definitely got some nice feeling deep in the shoulder there. So that's going to be a good, nice release. Okay, same thing, other side, same time. And here we go. Feet parallel, knees bent. Push initially, then relax your sacrum down. Feel pressure increasing in your heels. Push your fontanelle up. That'll stretch your cervical spine and your thoracic spine. Shoulders down, relaxing as much as I can. On the opposite side, also here, I'm getting it all the way into my lower shoulder blade and the transverse abdominals, about the same, not very far forward, but still front of my midline. Actually, about where my hand is. I wonder if there's a coincidence there. Probably so. And relax. Okay, now, front and back. Symmetrical, because you don't want to be doing something asymmetrical with your spine. So, feet parallel, knees bent, pushing the sacrum down. Then I'm going to relax it. Push my shoulders down as I push my fontanelle up, and here we go. Really be careful here with where you're feeling in your spine. I'm feeling this between my shoulder blades. Oh, that feels really nice. I've got both my shoulder blades engaged. Whew. I've got I've got my rib cage covered all the way to the front in terms of engagement. Building up a lot of internal heat. I can feel heat coming off my body. By the way, that heat, that's chi. You also have electromagnetic stuff coming out you as well. And relax. Whew. Feels good. So again, I'm stressing my system, and then I'm going to shake it again, and then I'm going to stretch. In the back, same thing. Here we go. Now, I'll just say I prefer the back of all four of these directions so far. It's the back I like the best, but I resist doing it longer because it's already better than the others in terms of full engagement. So if anything, because it's so good, I could do it for less time. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it for the same amount of time. But you might be tempted to. Just be really careful of your practice in asymmetries. And here's the thing. I've got 4 years of history on this, and that's about how long I've been doing this stuff. And I've been doing Tai Chi for a lot longer, but it doesn't matter. The point is I'm doing this stuff all the time. So I'm not looking to get anywhere fast. I'm looking to get places slowly with stability because I don't want to ruin my body. I've done enough stuff to my body. I've got osteoarthritis in my right thumb from a rollerblading incident in Dallas in the mid-90s. And I've got neck damage and back damage, and they're all fine. I mean, I don't really have a lot of pain. I don't have any pain right now at all, but I got to maintain the body. But that's the thing. This is not something I'm doing to fix anything. I am fixing things. This is about ongoing maintenance. And as a bonus, the parasympathetic stuff that we're doing here, for me, it is like sitting meditation in terms of clarity for the mind. It does the whole thing for the body, though. So it's actually, I still do sitting meditation. I wouldn't give it up. But it's in many respects. If you had to pick one, it's breath. Or two, shaking. Really, shaking and breath. If you just do that, you're golden. Try that. And if it doesn't magnify what you're doing, then just, you know what, you've just invalidated everything for yourself. And honestly, this works for me. If it doesn't work for you, guess what? It doesn't work for you. And it's nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with me. It's just not every body is the same. So give it a try. See what happens. I've been trying to get my fellow Tai Chi students to do more shaking. but I got to be careful because of my enthusiasm can be a bit intimidating. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do a little more stressing on my body. Actually, I'm going to take this off and do some planking just to go back to stress a little bit, and then I'm going to shake, then I'm going to stretch. So here we go. Do I want to time this? I'll just do it this way. Okay. Hey, Chesh. Alexa, stop. Alexa, play Nothing But Love, the definitive collection of James.
Looks like we've got a case of mistaken identities here. I'm playing This Is Boney James from Spotify.
Alexa, play music by James.
This is James from Spotify.
That'll work. Chest, don't hit my arm too hard. Now, this is actually also really good for your rotator cuffs and also body integration. If you can do this, so I've got my entire left side engaged right now, and my arm and my shoulder. Okay, I'm only going to do 30 seconds on the side. What I'm actually doing is I'm expecting, as I look at the HRV data at this point, I would expect my my heart rate variability to be down and my pulse to be up. This is yang. This is effortful. All right, let's see. So that's enough of that. I can definitely feel sweat on my forehead. So now I'm going to go back to shaking to get a final reset. I've done plenty of basic body stresses. I've been doing a lot of weird talking about stuff. That's a distraction for my ego, my frontal cortex, so that the shaking just keep going because I have trouble sticking it out for very long if I'm not gabbing. Now, I mentioned the gyroscope. The reason I bring up the gyroscope, the whole sequence of events that's gotten to this point was really around a gyroscope and a metaphor. And the metaphor was a gyroscope. And it's actually a multifaceted, or I make a lot of use out of the gyroscope. So for example, the gyroscope's not moving. It's not spinning. I could put energy into it, pull the string, bootstrap the system, prime the pump, and it would be around for a while. And then it would eventually, because no energy is going in, it would stop doing that. Our bodies are the same way, but we're putting energy in all the time. It's food. It's exercise. Sometimes you use energy, and of course you're building up resilience. So if you actually work on your body in a way that while it uses energy, ultimately makes your body more efficient, you're optimizing your body, and so you have more energy. And more importantly, the more efficient you make your body, the higher the signal to noise ratio in your body. Now, what does that mean? Your inner critic, if you have one, if you have an inner voice that's like yelling at you or saying bad things or like saying, oh, your fingernails suck or your shoes are dirty or whatever. Okay, so what's happening? I believe this model works for me, and I actually believe this is as close as you're going to get to what's probably a good, really effective working model of what's actually happening. All right, your body is fully connected, top to bottom, right to left, and the right to left is for balance. That's important because your inner critic is a part of you. It is you. Here's the thing that I think is happening. Your body is in a certain state of disarray from coffee, from stress, from not sleeping, whatever. And that literally causes noise in your body. And when there's noise in the body, your body is less efficient, takes more energy to do the same thing. But also, your body is always pressing signals throughout it, up to bottom, right to left. And in fact, your brain, your gut, they're doing probes all the time to figure out what's going on. Like there are probes going into your cheekbones to see if you need to maintain tightness. And if it doesn't get any pushback, the cheekbones release. So your body is constantly sampling itself and determining what to do. So your body is talking, it's sending messages back and forth. How does your inner brain talk to your ego? I mean, do you talk to yourself? The problem with language, wrong word. Language is such a dominant characteristic that a lot of people think in language. And so if your inner critic is trying to communicate with you, I'm sorry, I keep calling it a critic. If your inner system, your implicit brain, the old model system one that's pretty much rejected, but just there's an inner part and an outer part from a layering perspective. The older part of the brain needs to communicate. So it's going to look for neural nets, information that it can turn on electricity to say, hey, something. So if you're noisy, it's got to use strong signals. If you're quiet, it can use weak signals, right? But imagine this. Your brain is a physical, visceral thing with electricity going through it, blood pressure, the heart's beating and so on. Your brain is always changing shape as well. So not only is it changing shape, but the higher the electrical activity in your brain starts feeding in on itself or feeding back on itself, making it more noisy and having it get to the point where it's so inefficient it can't do what it's built to do, wave processing. It has to start doing linear processing. All right, so your inner critic is trying to tell you something. Like my inner critic is telling me I need to go to sleep, and I'm going to go to sleep. But a while back, I was working through some kind of mental models, and the word time kept coming to me, and it was the final like jigsaw puzzle. My inner brain was saying, "Hey, this thing you're fixating on it. Look at time. Look at time." And actually, I'm getting tingling in my head. I can feel. I'm telling you exactly what happened, and I can feel the sensations in my brain when there's electrical firings. Sometimes when I've been shaking for a while, when I've been doing breath work and so on. By the way, that's always going on. There's nothing special about that. You just can't feel it because there's so much noise. But when you turn down the noise, your inner critic can just do whatever. And so my inner critic said time, and I had been working on a model, and it occurred to me, I went through this kind of reasoning. I was trying to figure out a general model of stuff. And I was like, how do you fix time into it? And it occurred to me, well, time, one, I know how to model time. We can do time series, we can do discrete time. Minimum is a triad like time minus, time zero, time plus, but whatever. You can model time, but I don't always need time. Like for example, I'm playing Monopoly. It's going to suck a lot of time, and it's going to, eat at your soul. But you're going to spend time on it. But I don't need to model time in Monopoly. In fact, I'm pretty certain if you read the rule book, and I have read the rule book, but it's been a couple decades, it doesn't mention anything about time. Maybe there's some time about decisions. I don't remember. But the point is, time, like anything, can be useful if it needs to be. But sometimes you don't need to model time. Now, what I'm doing, I care about time in that I want to get a minimum of 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is the number that I find is enough to get my body loose. Actually, I got to tell you, I've been shaking quite some time now, and I think I'm pretty good, but I'm actually also waking up a little bit. So now I'm going to go into sympathetic work. I'm going to slowly warm up my front a little bit before I do anything deep. So I'm going to go ahead and start by getting my toes turned under, and then I'm going to sit onto my heels, and I'm stretching my toes and the arches of my feet. This will help with tightness in your calves as well. And then in this case, my hands are going to be the pins, and this is the toes are the needles. I'm sorry. The hands are the needles, the toes are the pins. So I'm going to take my hands, put them behind the back, and I'm going to just put them in a prayer pose or whatever. I'm just trying to get my shoulders engaged here to get a little more bang for the buck on this one. And I'm not timing this one. I'm just going to do it for a while. I know that when my shins start sliding, that I'm probably getting pretty good. And also I can feel when my toes are really turned back. So um, this is one I just do because I like stretching the hell out of my feet. And it's not that I need to do well. It, if I don't keep this up, eventually my feet would start to get tighter. But flexibility goes away pretty slowly. And honestly, this feels great. It's kind of like if you've ever had a sore tooth and you push on it, it feels good pushing on a sore tooth. That's what this feels like. And the thing is, you can choose your intensity. So let's get into mechanics a bit. So the process I'm doing has three key parts and then two, I think, key parts. The first one is breathe to relax, 4-8. This is a technique that will calm you down. It'll actually put your sympathetic system, turn it down and turn up your parasympathetic system. Next thing is wet noodle. Whatever you're stretching, you want that to be relaxed because stretching and strength are literally opposite. Same fibers, different direction. So you get a lot more effective stretching without using strength. The rest of the body can certainly be tight. You want to try to get as much calmness as you can because you want to keep yourself calm. But if you're able to hold your body tight and also be calm, that's actually a really powerful thing too. But again, wet noodle for the place that you're stretching. And then just when you get out of the pose, don't use the muscle you just stretched to get out of the pose. Quick one there. Time, passive time, or time over tension. So 2 to 5 minutes. Though stick to 2 to 5 minutes, but with shaking, the first 30 seconds will be a lot different than if you don't do the shaking. The other two are you got to go from where you're at. So I'm using this stool that's in front of me later on because my heel is bruised, so I can't do front splits. I might try it just for a second to see how it feels, but I'll probably use that. I'm curious where I'm actually at. And then the other one is it's not how it looks and how it feels. So use props. Here's the thing. I'm doing technically dangerous stuff. I'm consciously destabilizing my muscles primarily. I'm actually doing a bit more than that. I'm actually working on the interstitial tissues at this point, which is not strictly necessary. But for example, I'm going to turn my toes under, keep talking here. I'm going to just do the opposite. So I was just dorsiflexion, now I'm going to plantar flexion. That's going to give me better ankle strength, which is going to give me better balance, which means I'm not going to fall as much, which means I'm not going to break bones, yada, yada. But, Hello Kitty, I completely lost my train of thought. So I'm just going to stop for a second, see if anything comes up. I'll just pet the kitty instead. Here, come here. I'm going to get you just for a second. Don't worry, I'm not going to keep you too long. Here. Here, wait, let me do this. Go it down. I sort of set myself up to not be able to go very far back because of the wall, but that's fine. So I've got some nice hyperflexion going on in my knees. Careful on that. I'm going to come out of this really slow when I do because when you do something like this, the blood flow comes back a little bit quickly and it can be a little bit startling. My butt is touching the ground here. Now it is. So if my butt's on the ground, it's okay to go further back. If your butt's not on the ground, you're going to tweak your lower back. So I'm getting a great stretch right here. And if I go any further right now, the way my feet are, I think I'm going to get my right arch is going to sort of cramp up. So I really don't feel like doing that. Okay, here we go. All right. I'm going to try the front splits. Now, I'm going to give you some mechanics again. I normally would do the right side first, just out of habit. It doesn't matter at all. It's just you want to make sure to do both sides. I'm going to do the left side first because that's the problem side. And if I can't do the left side, then I'm not going to do the right side. So here we go. And I have no idea where I'm at on this. I definitely want a brick. I want both bricks, actually. That's a minimum. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and get the, yeah, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to be optimistic that I might actually make progress. Let's see, here we go. I need some room to slide back. Okay, there we go. That's not so bad. Okay, let me get the timer here. There we go. Should. Well, hot damn, I can do the front splits for the most part. That's pretty cool. This explains why when I've been doing high kicking in Tomos 18, I can get so high. Now, I'm not actually flat on the ground here. It's a bit of a cheat, leaning forward like this, but I'm getting a really nice stretch on my right hip flexor all the way up to the hip, so a little higher. It's a bit much, though. I'm going to come back. Now, I'm not doing a full front split, but I'm pretty close. But I'll say this. If I had not shook before doing this, I would not be here at less than 2 minutes in. There's just no way in hell. I'm not that flexible. So basically, by doing the shaking, I'm paying down the nervous system bill before going into a deep stretch. God dang, I still have over 2 minutes left. Insane. I will not need to go more than 5 minutes tonight. Oh my gosh. Okay, something is opening up right now, big time. Like, wow. Holy shit. That's worth a swear word right there. Oh my God. And I mean, just relax. Just let go. I mean, and I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm just surprised at the intensity of that at this late in the pose. I gotta be careful that I'm hitting my knee a little funky. There, that's better. I was slightly off center on the patella. And that was not good. Hey, shush. Okay, here's another release. Surprising. I need to get my arm up a little bit higher. There we go. Okay, my right hip flexor is just about on the ground. Hey, Chesh. How you doing, kitty? I think I'm more flexible than you now, sir. Other than my heel, my left side's my better side, so my right side's not going to look like this, I don't think. Though it's going to look pretty decent, I think. Okay. Okay. Oh, shit. You just pop up, don't you? Oh boy, dude, I kind of move, but you're kind of in my way. So I'm slightly debilitated. I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine, but I really don't want to do anything with my right hip at the moment. Hip flexor. So here, slide this back. There we go. I'll turn this up. Balance for the kitty. Dude, could you move forward? Just thank you. That helps. There. I want to get my other leg on the ground. There we go. Now I can relieve the tension off that leg and sit back. There we go. That's it. I will stretch it out. I have no idea what that actually looks like on the camera, but that felt pretty good. Yeah, here we go. Let's actually get into the pose before I start the timer. I'm not in any hurry. Now, I use 2 pillows on the left side. My heel feels pretty good. It's bruised. It's not plantar fasciitis. I'm pretty certain. Back to that again, but we'll see. But since I did 2 pillows on the other side, I'm going to do pillows on this side. Even if I don't need it, I'd rather do it symmetrically. And honestly, you know, I'm not going to get hurt with an extra pillow. It's not too high. Okay, now, because my leg is a bit weak, I've got to be careful sliding it forward. Whew. There we go. Yeah, this side is tighter. Here we go. Actually, you know what? Nope, I don't like the way my knees feels. Hang on. Let's start over. So that's a bit quick reset. It was only 12 seconds in. No big deal. You know, I do want symmetry. I don't have another. I'm not going to go downstairs and get this the pillows. This will be fine. This will work sufficiently for a pillow for my back knee. Just on my knee a bit weird. And I'm going to go ahead and just, even though this isn't symmetrical, sometimes I'll protect my joints over symmetry. Don't be too crazy about that. You got to think middle way though. Except for this rule, there are no good rules that are absolute. Rules don't exist. Rules are either predictive or they are meant to be controlling, but they're not reality. They might coincide with reality, but reality kind of just does whatever the reality does. Our rules, our models are just sometimes really high fidelity predictions of what's going to happen. But gravity does not exist. Gravity is empty. What the hell does that mean, Brett? Well, let me tell you. You might really want to just do this. I'm just really just letting my mind wander. What the hell? Emptiness. The idea of emptiness is it's a weird word, but I just love it. Non-independent arising. That is, everything has a frame of reference. I mean, it's a simple way to say it, but there's other ways to say it. Lakoff, in the metaphors we live by, took a physical take on that. He said, you know, like up is considered good because you look up to your caregiver. And I'm totally fine with that. I think it's a bit too much, but the basic idea is sound. But I'll take it further. Every single model, every single word is a model. Every model is a model. All models are wrong. Some models have value. Words are the same way. In fact, everything's a model. You're listening to this. You have a model that you've been forming, It consists of some visual cues and some audio cues, plus your previous experience. And as I said earlier, your inner critic, if you're hearing it, might be talking to you. But whatever's going on, the current state of your brain is causing it to have a certain amount of additional or less noise in the form of electrical flow, blood flow, etc. And that will interfere with, and I say interfere in a wave interference pattern, it will interact with whatever your senses are because they're all working in the same kind of thing. So a signal comes in on a wire. Well, I'm sensing that wire. And it doesn't have to be a wire, it could be electromagnetic. But there's an interference pattern between the delivery of the signal and the picking up of the signal. And the medium, in this case, the physical neurons and the biomechanical slosh that's going on in there, moves, vibrates. And so the calmer you make yourself, the clearer the signals coming in. And also, since you're at a lower energy, if you also happen to prime your brain to think about complex patterns, then your brain has more capacity to store information, which then allows it to find overlap and collapse concepts, which all of a sudden means you've got some lateral thinking being done just for efficiency so that you have room for other stuff. How effing amazing is that? Boy, this is a really intense stretch right now. And I am totally distracting myself because my right side is still pretty good, but it's talking to me. And it's saying, yes, yes, but just be patient. It's not actually saying that. It's got tightness. That's what it's saying. Tightness is what it's saying. But it's not, it's discomfort. It's not pain. Actually, right there, that's just a little too far. I'm going to come back. As I was saying that, it could have been that I went too far, or it could be through my talking, I'm turning up my nervous system just a little bit. In fact, it's probably a little bit of both. But it doesn't matter why. Speculate all you want. Just don't get your nervous system turned up when you're stretching. And I've gotten to the point now where I can do these deep stretches and gab, but I'm just sort of going through and just saying stuff that I've already thought or processed many times. Sometimes I'm doing a live. I'm completely lying. I'm mostly just making shit up as I go along with some priming. That's deep. Oh. Now, since my left side is looser than my right side, and my right side is doing a big stretch right now, I'm going to stay in this a little bit longer. I'm just going to turn this off, give myself another minute. There we go. Okay, that's actually enough. I just had another like 30 seconds, but it was doing some movement and I didn't want to miss that opportunity. Oh, darn shucks and golly willikers. Oh, man. My hip flexors. I can notice in a particular move in the Tai Chi form that I practice, snake creeps down. My hip flexors are definitely getting help from this particular stretch. Wow, my hamstrings are just crazy stretched. Okay, I think that's enough. Chesh, come here. I'll go there. It's time to call night on the Paradox Diaries, I believe. And I'm pretty tired now. Good night. Ooh. We do one more thing, but I'll stop the paradox. Actually, no, I'm not going to stop the paradox. Here we go. Might as well do this. So I suspect there's going to be a little bit of a release in terms of overall tension and relaxation. And so I'm going to spend a few minutes just doing basic. I'm just going to sit here and breathe. I'm not doing anything particular. I'm just trying to be chill. And in fact, I'm going to even use props so I can be really balanced, which allows me to be more ignorant. There. A little bit of support. I relax my belly. If you relax your belly, you're more likely to bring breath deeper into your lungs. There's more blood down there. It's good for you. If you expand your belly, you'll stimulate your vagus nerve. When you're stimulating your vagus nerve, think about this. When you get really scared, you suck up, right? When your belly is relaxed, like the laughing Buddha, you're signaling to your body it's calm. There are no tigers. So you can encourage your body by just simply letting your belly out and breathing. And you're saying, it's okay, it's fine. And you can calm down enough. Guess what happens? Your body actually can start doing some of that stuff it does at night in your sleep during the day. It's possible. You have to sort of, it might take a little bit of work to get to that, but you can do it, totally do it. And so really, you can apply lean principles of small batches. So rather than doing a single batch of go to sleep, get everything done, of course you don't get sleep, so nothing gets processed. Oh, here, I was going to breathe and now I'm getting wired again. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to breathe.